How are you today? So, this is me. You can connect with me, do all of this stuff, but I get a lot of emails, so good luck. I'm excited to be here. I'm delighted to be here. This is such a beautiful theatre, and I've been in Croatia for a couple of days, meeting many of you, and I will be around at coffee. If you would like to come and say hi, please come and say hi. No problem. That's what I'm here for. I want to meet startups, I want to meet entrepreneurs, I want to meet founders. So, let's do it. Right, well, what is this? This is a rather nice picture. What do we mean by this? What we want to do here is to create a pipeline. We want you guys to join us in the international, global entrepreneur and startup community. It doesn't mean to say that you have to leave. In fact, we want you to stay. And we want to stay and spread the message, spread the gospel. Come to Jesus, correct? So we want you to spread the gospel of entrepreneurship and startups. But we also want to create this fantastic pipeline to the international entrepreneur and startup community. So what do we want to do? How do we do this, right? How do we actually practically do this? Right, let's have a little think. How do we start companies from anywhere? It happens a lot because we're all from different parts of the world. I'm from London. I'm the last person in London born in London. Most of the people in London are now from somewhere else. It's a very international city. So what we actually want to do is create companies from anywhere, because that's where we're from, anywhere right now. So how does that work? Well, this is interesting. This is a great cluster. Obviously, we're familiar with Silicon Valley. And they've had, since the Second World War, 50 or 60 years to create an incredible startup cluster. And it didn't happen with government backing. It happened organically, it happened naturally, and it happened because, well, there wasn't a lot of normal industries in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco. It happened because people were entrepreneurial, and they were effectively attracted to the Wild West, as it were. But we have this an amazing cluster. But the trouble is that they've got an incredibly big market, one single market, and what we've got to deal with is this. This is a very messy situation. So how do we go global from this when we've got to contend with this, right? So what do we do? Well, first of all, we think smart. We don't think about trying to create one single global market. We think smart about what we're doing. We use our situation as an advantage, not as a disadvantage. We think about creating something that doesn't matter where we are. Who here remembers a company called Seismic? Probably one or two. Actually, nobody does, right? But where was Seismic built? It wasn't built in San Francisco. It was marketed in San Francisco. It was told as a story, as if it was from San Francisco, but it was actually built in Romania. So it wasn't built in San Francisco at all. Everyone thought it was a San Francisco startup. It wasn't. So, in other words, location doesn't matter anymore. And if you talk about location, you immediately limit what you're doing, and you suddenly put a kind of a bracket around what you're doing, and people will dismiss you if you talk constantly about location. Don't talk about location anymore. You guys are entrepreneurs, you're founders, you're startups, you're building companies and products which will think global. Doesn't matter where you're from, just do it. Because actually, what it's about is about the product. The product is everything. Because people don't care where you're from, what they care about is what the problem you're solving. Okay? This is a very typical thing, by the way. British people love to say, I'm from London, I'm British. But, who cares? Doesn't matter. Okay? And exactly the same thing with you guys. Nobody cares where you're from. Nobody cares what you've done. All they want to do is they want this. And they want you to solve the problem that they've got. Okay? So, next up, let's have a think about how you can use your location as an advantage. Your advantage is that you can build a product outside of the whole world. They will not know what you've done. You could have been doing something in Croatia for years, or anywhere in Central Europe, Central, Southern, Eastern Europe, doesn't matter. You can be doing it for it because they literally will not know. You can actually build a product which will test in a market, see what works, and then you can actually hit the skids, get out there, go global, go international, and see what works, right? So this is exactly what Spotify did. Spotify, stupid name, by the way. I mean, Spotify. Well, who on earth had that name? Poor old Daniel. Crazy, stupid name. But Spotify built in Sweden for at least 2 or 3 years and practically killed illegal downloading of music in Sweden for 2 or 3 years before they went global. Nobody knew what they were doing. Everyone thought it was a local company, local Swedish company, right? Actually, they really worked on their product, knew what they were doing, got it right, and then they went international. So they've actually created a great product which worked incredibly well in Swedish, which frankly not that many people speak, only a few people in Sweden, a few million, about 9, I think, 9 million. It's quite a small country. And they got it right, and then they went international. So you can use that as an advantage. So, keep calm, learn English. Yes, absolutely. This is something that actually, I know it sounds terribly sort of, English and British of me, but this is the international language now. So let's create products that are international in the English language because, unfortunately, Esperanto didn't work. And speaking as myself as a fluent Esperanto speaker, voila. Nobody took that up, unfortunately. I'm quite sad because there's not many Esperanto speakers out there, and I'm just the last guy. But unfortunately, English won, so let's go with those guys. So, and also, if you'll notice, actually I took a word out there, actually investor. So investors are in English as well. So it's the international language, doesn't matter where you're from or whatever. Let's do that, let's get on down. Esperanto lost, English won. Let's do it. Right. Niche is also an important thing. Niche is about going, you don't necessarily have to go big and wide. Solve a really interesting problem in a niche. That's going to be something that is going to excite people because the world is full of niches. The world is full of small problems that need to be solved. So go for that. Communicate. I don't think, when a startup pitches me, what they actually have is they have a problem. They think about what they're doing and they spit it out real fast. But the real thing is they've got to communicate. What you've got to do, how are you going to do that? You've got to tell a story. Tell a story, right? Start from the beginning and reach the end. Say, listen, I had a problem, right? My kids couldn't get to school. I needed to find out what was going on. I needed blah, blah, blah. This is a story. Don't just come out straight with the product immediately. Tell a story. Get people interested in what you're doing. That's how you do it. Now, is there any water, by the way? Let's bring some water up. So, now, you want to go international? Get out there, right? Don't stick around in your hometown. rush out there. What did they say? What does it say in the Bible? The prophet is never recognized in his home village. Yeah, you've got to get out there. Jesus didn't stay in Nazareth. He went to Jerusalem. So you've got to get out there. Get on a plane, get international, come and visit us in London, go to SF, go to New York, go to Beijing, go to Berlin, get on a plane, come out and see everybody, right? Because this is the global community that you're joining and you're part of right now. We're not all going to come here. You've got to come out and see us. So get on a plane. So, now, eventually you're going to raise money, but you do need to have traction. So, a very small amount of information about that. This is a very boring slide. It just means valley of death, and that's how you raise money. This is a boring slide, but this is how effectively this ecosystem works. I'll whack these slides up online for you guys later, so you can check them out. But this is effectively what we're talking about here. Early stage, first, second, etc. Now, valley of death means you don't have any revenue, and this is where many of you will be to begin with. But raising money at the beginning is about getting into the pipeline of investors. And what does that mean? Well, founder, 100%. Thank you very much. Here's Mr. One Guy down here. You get your founder and your co-founder. Now, if an angel investor comes up to you today or tomorrow or another time and says, I really like your idea, I'll tell you what, I'll take 50% of the company for 10,000 euro. You're going to go, what are you going to do? You're going to tell them to go and stick it up their bum, aren't you? Because that's wrong. Ignore those people. You want to create a real viable company that has revenue, that potentially has revenue, or if it doesn't have revenue, has traction. And you want to hold on to it for as long as you possibly can until you have some very interesting numbers to show investors, and you want to stay in control of that as long as possible. Some rather interesting people back in the Valley have said, actually, eventually you want to have 2 board seats on the board, not just one, because you want to control your company and you want to you have a product vision that you must keep hold of. So don't listen to the siren voices. Listen to your own intuition and keep control, because that's how entrepreneurs and founders create great products. Now, you must use these tools. AngelList, Crunchbase, crowd equity platforms like Seedrs, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. All of these are tools which are totally free, which you can use right now, right? In fact, I know entrepreneurs who've actually raised money just by having brilliant, fantastic profiles on all of these platforms. So please look at them, use them to your advantage, and do not waste that opportunity. Because that opportunity is available to you right now. You can literally open your laptop and start right now. So if you're raising money, if you want to get on into the pipeline of investors and the pipeline of the international startup community, use these tools to your advantage. Here are a little bit of active VCs. Now, I'm glad Wellington's up there because a man from Wellington is in the crowd. But this is a wonderful list, very useful. And actually, these are the most active investors in Europe right now. You can take a little picture of that if you want. And I'll get out of the way. And well, I'll put these slides online. I'll send them to Ivan, who organised Split. And we'll put them online. But these are some of the most active ones. These are the people you want to meet, you want to connect with, and you want to start that conversation early when you're building your startup, so that when you are ready for investment, they will know who you are. And of course, there are, oops, terrible slide there. There's accelerators, many accelerators you can join. And this is another way to join the fantastic pipeline of startups in Europe. These guys are very, very useful and very handy because what they do is they create clusters, immediate clusters of entrepreneurs, people like you, who are all going through the same journey and are able to go together. Yes? The Africans have an old saying, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go long, go together. So if you want to go for a long time, if you want to go on a long journey, if you want to survive, you go with together. And these accelerators are very, very useful for that very, very reason. So, let's have a little look at some examples of people who've already done this and already gone on this journey. Many of you will know, I think I spelled Bellabeat wrong, sorry. Many of these companies, Croatian companies, all of them have been through this journey already. They've joined the pipeline. And the pipeline is companies like BabyWatch, who went to Startup Bootcamp in Berlin, and then to Y Combinator in San Francisco. Bellabeat was invested by Crunch Funds, founded by Michael Arrington, the founder of TechCrunch, who is now a venture capitalist. Farmeron, Seed Camp in London, and Teddy, the Guardian, also in Seed Camp. But it's just an example. It doesn't have to be Seed Camp, it just has to be part of the pipeline of community. It's a way of getting noticed, a way of joining the pipeline. It's not the only way, but it's one way. Now, these are all companies solved simple problems that people have. They don't have to be the next Instagram. They don't have to be, the next amazing, WhatsApp or whatever. They solve real problems. But, you can try and be the next Instagram if you want. Here's a company called Saya. They were from Ghana. I was in Ghana 2 years ago, and I found a company who were creating a messaging platform called Saya Chat, specifically aimed at emerging markets. And it wasn't just aimed at Africans, it was aimed at emerging markets all over the world. And they ended up at TechCrunch Disrupt in San Francisco, which, by the way, we'll be having in London in October. So it doesn't matter. You can actually think big as well, okay? Now, as accelerators get involved and get created and join the pipeline of investors and entrepreneurs globally, this will happen locally, of course. There'll be more happening around Central and Eastern Europe and in Croatia as well. And so you don't need to go to the US to raise money. Eventually, if you are that good, the money comes to you, okay? People get on a plane to come to you. You don't have to get on a plane anymore. They'll come and visit you where you are. So, you can still build from anywhere. That's my message. Who are companies on the block? A very old band. I'm probably the only person here who remembers this band. But there are many, many now early stage funds and accelerators that you can tap into internationally. Right, clusters, very, very useful. That's what I want to talk about a little bit at the moment. I want to talk about clustering is incredibly helpful. Now, why is clustering helpful? Co-working, getting together, we're all in the same place, creating stuff, being innovative, sparking ideas, you name it, right? Why is that important? Well, it's very, very simple. When you cluster, you create noise. Noise is fantastic for startups because if you remember earlier, my slide was about creating hype, noise, and attention, right? You create hype, noise, attention. Attention attracts investment, users, people, everything. This is a photograph of a newspaper article that was started in 2009. And what it meant was that the media got interested because it was about new innovation, new economic developments, right? In the depths of Europe's recession, we had fantastic new companies being created. And that's incredibly important, and it's part of a story that Europe must now join. We cannot live on the old ways of government jobs or whatever. We've got to think entrepreneurially, because that's actually how we're going to create the new economy. Once you join clusters, you're part of a movement. Here's a picture of London a few years later. Startups all over the place. It's a wonderful story, and you can create this as well. What's an ecosystem? So what is an ecosystem? It's entrepreneurs, it's startups, it's angels, investors, it's VCs, it's mentors, it's accelerators, government. We heard from the president of Croatia earlier. Government must be part of the project because they must set the tone of the conversation. We don't have to look to them for advice, but it helps if they are on board with the project. We must have them saying, yes, entrepreneurs and startups are important. We must be created now. So we need all of these people involved. Journalists even sometimes are useful. And it's great to have lots of events because it means that you guys get together, you smash ideas around, you come up with new ideas because you get to talk to each other. So we have a culture of sharing, but you must recognize that things will go wrong. Most startups fail. 9 out of 10 startups will fail, okay? You've just got to kind of breathe and know that something's going to go wrong, okay? It doesn't matter. You just keep going. You just got to keep fighting to win. Things are going to go wrong, and it's not going to be right. It's not going to be roses. It's not going to be, Hollywood. It's going to go wrong. But you've got to recognize that it will fail, and how you deal with that failure is very important. How you keep going is incredibly important. And so you've got to support each other when things go. When your friend has a startup goes wrong, you pat them on the back, say, hey man, don't worry, just keep going. Let's do another one. Yeah? Some great stuff being created by a guy called Brad Feld. I commend him to you. Google him. Created a great ideas around what he called the Boulder thesis, Boulder, Colorado. And one of the key important things is that the founders of startups and the founders of companies were the leaders of the community. It wasn't people like me, just some dumb journalist or whatever. It was the founders. Those are the people who are most important. And the great, like Ivan, who created Split Shift. He's a founder, he's an entrepreneur, he's doing events, he's getting you guys together. It's great that that happens because the founders are the most important. Now, let me I'm not sure what my time is on here, so I'll just keep going. I'll go as fast as I quick. How long have I got left, sir? I've got 10 minutes, fine. So, now, connect with the regions, connect with Central Eastern Europe, connect with Western Europe, connect with the clusters, and then let's go global from there. Now, what's happened? They've gone hunting, the startups, and the clusters are important because investors like clusters because it makes it easier for them to find you guys. If you're all over the place, it's hard for them. It's easier if you're in a cluster, if you get together. Some co-working. Here are some examples of these guys all over the place. Now, this is what happened in London, 2009, 11, nothing, right? Next, bang, like I said earlier, all over the place. And so big firms like those clusters because then they join the community. You got Yammer, Huddle, Amazon, Expedia, Skype, all over in the eastern part of London joining the startups because that's where the talent is, that's where the people are. They want to be there as well. So that's important. And now, you've got, these are guys, investors now want to be there as well. This is a great advantage. Once you have investors in the same place as the clusters, that's when you're cooking with gas, as they say. Same in Berlin. Same in Paris, Silicon Sentier. And in fact, of course, you can graph this with coffee. Coffee and Wi-Fi, very useful. And drinking is very useful as well. Here's Mr. Dennis from Foursquare joining the London tech scene. And the social aspect of startups is incredibly important, because that's where ideas happen. Make lots of noise, and you guys are incredibly amazing, right? Sexy, right? Okay? Do you know what? You get this? Are you with me now? Have I got your attention? Game of Thrones. What the hell happened, right? People with beards in newspaper articles. People in style magazines. This is amazing, right? What happened? I don't know. These people are normally considered kind of, well, maybe not these guys. They're quite good looking, but. So, you're part of a story. You're a real story. Now, we've also got corporates joining. And what do? They create lovely, beautiful spaces like this with great sofas and people and offices and maybe not this one, but this one, right? So it's gorgeous because the corporates, the big companies want to get involved as well. Do you know why? Because innovation has stopped being inside a laboratory with a Bunsen burner and people in white coats. Innovation has moved to the edge of the network, right? Because basically anybody with internet access now can create something completely innovative. And that's incredibly important. So let me just get, these guys is the ICE network in London. The entrepreneurs themselves are part of the pipeline now as well. And of course the media. And of course, when you get TechCrunch, that's your TechCrunch post, but that's not the end of, not the beginning or the end. It's just part of the journey. Quick point, please learn how to deal with media, and please learn how to network. I'll put these online. Because eventually, you guys are going to be successful, you create your own little mafia, your co-founders, and then you will invest in each other, and that will be part of the pipeline as well. But of course, what you really want to know is, how do I get on TechCrunch, of course? But it's very, very simple. Very, very simple. All you do is you get your TechCrunch tattooed on your back, and then walk over to me at the party. Okay? Very simple. Thank you very much.